Now, with their clever lyrics and disco beats, the Pet Shop Boys were part of the electronic pop revolution of the 1980s, and for almost 20 years they've blazed a trail across the charts here in the UK and in the United States, with numerous collaborations and even a West End musical.
Now, though, the duo have turned their attentions to film. They've written a new score for the classic Russian drama Battleship
Potemkin.
Thank you. The results of which remain under wraps until the free open-air screening in Trafalgar Square in London this Sunday. We'll talk to the singer Neil Tennant in a moment. First, let's remind ourselves of the film with its original music.
That was the original score from the film, and Neil Tennant from the Pet Shop Boys is with us now. Hello. Neil, why a need for a new score?
Well, actually, it relates a bit to your previous item. It came out of a request from the Mayor of London's office and the ICA, and they wanted to celebrate the civic space that is Trafalgar Square, since they pedestrianised it under the National Gallery, and they've been having various events there, and this is the biggest one. And so the ICA approached us because they knew we had a background in using film with our music. Our first ever tour, for instance, was directed by Derek Jarman, the film director. And they said, would you like to write and perform live a new electronic soundtrack to Battleship Potemkin?
It's a big project, because it's not a short film for starters.
It's not that long. It's 73 minutes.
Oh,
It's
really?
an hour and a quarter.
All right.
And we were interested to see whether we could write an hour and a quarter of continuous music, because that's... and in fact, we have done that. And in doing so, we've brought in a string orchestra from Germany, the Dresden Symphonica, who are coming over. And the director of the film, Eisenstein, said that he wanted there to be a new soundtrack written every 10 years to keep it fresh.
Yeah.
And it's interesting when you see the film that the style of acting and editing, although it's black and white and a bit scratchy, it's very modern. It's not the sort of mad... you know, overemphasized sort of school of silent movie acting that maybe you think of when you think of silent movies.
So you said you were intrigued to find out if you could do it, and clearly you can do it.
We did,
and
yes.
you did do it, but how hard was it, and how did you go about thinking about sequences and different moves? Did you have the film just running all the time? Yeah,
we actually managed to load the DVD of the film into our computers so we could write on a frame-by-frame sort of basis. And we watched the film several times with no sound. We didn't listen to the version of the soundtrack you just played there. So we came to it completely open-minded. And also we liked the idea we were going to take something made in the 1920s and put contemporary electronic music to it. And it's interesting because it changes the way you see a film. Again, it brings out the modernist qualities of the film, I think.
We were looking at that sequence, the very famous sequence of the pram going down the stairs, and you're watching all the time to see what's going to happen to it when it reaches the bottom. I was wondering how you approach that particular sequence.
Well, in the soundtrack we've written, there are 2 songs, and this is the second song. And also we were thinking about, we were in Trafalgar Square, and Trafalgar Square is a place where traditionally in London we have political meetings, where the poll tax riots were, where the anti-war demonstrations were. And so the lyrics of the song really are it's like someone giving an anti-war speech. And it's very, very heavy, beautiful music in the background. And then the combination is really quite stunning. And also for the first time in the film we use real sounds, because the soldiers start shooting the people. So you just have all this music, and suddenly synced up with the film as you get the of the guns firing.
Was it a film that you had known and liked before? Yeah,
I've always had, really coincidentally, but I've had a lot of interest in Soviet and Russian history. You know, I studied history at college, and so I've seen a lot of the great classics of Russian film, like Ivan the Terrible and what have you.
This is going to be outdoor? Indoor?
It's outdoor. It starts at 8:30 in Trafalgar Square, but if you're going to go out, just get there a bit beforehand.
Yeah. I'm a bit worried. What are you going to do if it rains?
If it rains, we are covered, because when you've got an orchestra playing, their instruments can't get wet. Yeah. And the audience will get wet. We're hoping that's not going to happen.
You've got things the right way round.
So if you go, take your brolly, is what you're saying?
Yeah, or maybe a raincoat. But I think, you know, we'll fingers crossed. I think it's really exciting that in London you've got an event where you can just turn up and you're going to see the premiere, the new work. It's also staged by a fantastic theatre director called Simon McBurney. You know, I think it's a completely unique event.
Great. Well, Neil Tennant, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Look forward to it. Fingers crossed for that weather.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for those of you who can't get to Trafalgar Square this Sunday, you can see Battleship Potemkin in its original form on BBC4 on Saturday, the 18th of September at 10:40 in the evening.
It's the last time I'm going to say this. Aren't you impressed with her Russian pronunciation?
Well, actually, it's pronounced Potemkin.
Ah, no, not in the
sure?
Russian, though.
In the Russian, it's pronounced Potemkin.
But she's a fluent Russian speaker.
Well, we'll debate that another day. Thanks, Neil.
Oh, Lord, I'm going to get it in the neck afterwards. Quick, the weather from Carol Kirkwood.